process of continuous improvement that Eddie Goldratt built his theory of constraints on is called the five-step focus. If we state that a system is governed by its constraint, then the first order of business is to find the damn thing. As we've already shown, you can't refute the idea of there being a constraint, because it's a law of physics, not my opinion. You might not like me, you might think I'm arrogant and stupid or humble and wise, but whatever you think of me has nothing to do with, for example, the law of gravity. And it's the same thing here. It's not that I'm punting it, it's just the law. Therefore, if you're looking to optimize your endeavors, your first obligation is to find the constraint. To be clear, find the constraint is not in the sense of, oh, goodness, it's Monday. Where's the constraint today? It's much more a design question you're asking. Given the resource pool that you have and given the load of the work that you have, where does it make the most sense to nominate as the constraint? Once you've decided, everything gets organized around it. The next step is to optimize it. If the constraint governs the rate at which value is created, we must make sure it's doing only that which only it can do. And not only is it always doing the right thing, but it's doing it right. 9 times out of 10, the optimized step means scheduling. It asks the question, how do I get the most out of that which is the constraint? It really is about walking in on Monday morning and knowing exactly what you'll be doing through to clocking off on Friday. The flip side of the constraint being able to achieve its optimized schedule is for everyone else to collaborate around it. We ask the question, how do we subordinate our priorities so the constraint can work at the rate at which the whole system is optimized? Because again, remember, 10% gained at the constraint is 10% gained for the system as a whole. For example, think about the critical path in a project and assume you know the durations and dependencies of all the tasks it passes through. At a given time in the execution of the project, it's over here. Well, then that's the constraint. You can put up a flag next to the desk or work center of the person or team and declare that whatever it is they need that they can't or shouldn't do themselves must be provided to them by the non-constraints. Optimize and collaborate are two sides of the same coin. That dance between the constraint and the non-constraints is where the magic happens. And you get yourself your 25% or more productivity uplift. Think about this for a moment. If you've got an idea of what your constraint is, and measure the difference between the inflow touch time of doing value-adding work versus the amount of time in the typical day, what would the ratio be? You don't have to flog the constraint to get to the 25%, but you do have to intelligently plan and execute the work so that the constraint's ability to use more of their productive capacity gives you the high leverage advantage for the whole system. Step number 4 is uplift. The uplift step is an investment step. You've squeezed all the blood you can from the stones, and it's time to go and get more stones. And if you're going to invest, where is that investment going to be? Will your constraint move into supply, production, or the marketplace? If we're in the middle of a national investment boom and you can't get the skilled workforce you need to work your plans, then you have a supply-side constraint. If the Chinese steel mills are consuming more iron ore than the global market can provide, you have a production constraint. If you're in the airline business and you have a pandemic, you have a market-based constraint. I've done a lot of work in iron ore expansion projects in the Pilbara. If we draw a system boundary around the business, it must include mine, rail, and port assets. Let's assume that the market is not the constraint, as we are very low-cost producers and can sell every ton we produce for a healthy margin. The cycle of investments would be mine, then rail, then port, and then back to the mines again. At one point, a double track of rail was built, which made rail capacity far more than either mine or port. It meant that the cycle then went from port to mine and back again, leaving out the rail. It's not the case that supply, production, or market is better or worse than the other. It's a case of adequately identifying the constraint and completing the optimize and collaborate steps before proceeding to the uplift. Once you've done the uplift step, the next step is to start again. The constraint will have moved. If you've done the work of the previous 4 steps diligently, you should find that the constraint is where you designed it to be. But you cannot allow inertia to be the constraint, as the systems we operate are dynamic, throwing down unexpected challenges and offering fortuitous opportunities. In the words of T.S. Eliot, once you've been through the 5-step focus, you should not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. That's the end of this mini course to introduce the fundamental principles we build on in the Systems Thinker course. I hope you found it eye-opening. A video course like this can only do so much. Even if you're now convinced about the value of finding the constraint and focusing your operations around it, what next? I believe we only really learn by doing. So that's what the Systems Thinker course is all about. We'll start by applying the 5-step focus to your specific context. I'll challenge you to uncover the real constraint and provide guidance along the way. It's fulfilling to look at your organization and the work ahead through different lenses. I hope you'll join me on this journey.